I've built unrealistic light cars in the past using mod bodies, but I never did so using a vanilla car body. So that's why I decided to do so with this video by using a small, ancient car body, which will house a very small, lightweight engine and be built on the lightest parts, which will later be driven in BeamNG.drive. Hey guys, it's TRIZE here, and let's get on with our build. So with the panel material of this wannabe crapmobile coupe kind of car up in here, which I built the crapmobile in like, what, 2018 or something like that. It's been a while since I used this car body here. So like I said, the lightest parts as possible in this game. So panel material, carbon fiber, with the chassis type, a monocoque also made out of carbon fiber for the chassis material. And the engine placement, interesting. Let's change this up by using a rear longitudinal because this is the lightest setup compared to a front transverse and of course a front longitudinal. And the front suspension, this is the lightest of a pushrod front suspension, and the rear will be a McPherson strut. And do max out the quality for the body, and same thing for the sandbox tech pull just in case, is I+15 for everything you see right up in here. So for the engine, which I've already made up in here, called the Super Light, because I believe this is the lightest engine in the game. So it's an inline 3 engine made out of magnesium, which is the lightest material in the game, with the bore set to 50mm loaded all the way. Same thing with the stroke loaded all the way down to 40mm, which gets this engine size to 236 cubic centimeters for the family capacity, with a pushrod 2 valve made out of aluminum silicon. And the variant capacity on the left-hand side, this has also been lowered with the bore to 45mm and the stroke to 28mm to get the true engine size to 134 cubic centimeters, which is about a little over 13% of a full liter up in here, folks. And the crank cowl rods and pistons, the lightest materials, billet steel, lightweight titanium, lightweight forge, and no bouncing mass whatsoever with no counterweight at all. Just negative 2.1 on the slider, which is just removing more than 2 pounds of the counterweight according to automation. Is that what this means? So the compression, terrible 5.0 to 1 ratio, cam profile is zip, springs and lifters to 100, and the RPM was set to 5500 RPM because why not? No turbocharger whatsoever for the fuel system. It's pretty much the usual for the lightest materials, is it's a single barrel carburetor and eco setup with the carburetor size maxed out to 100 to force as much as air as possible, which reduces some power to the engine. The intake manifold set at a full-blown racing setting, kept the manifold as is. And the fuel, we got some low-quality fuel, meaning you don't have to use regular fuel, premium, super, or ultimate, just use the good old cheap stuff, aka the 80 AKI fuel. And also the fuel mapping right up in here, this doesn't exist whatsoever. It's at a 0, which is a full-blown lean setting. And for the exhaust up in here, it's kind of weird. Tubular long headers is the lightest out of all of them. As you can see here, compact cast, which adds 3.5 pounds, low cast headers, 4.9, 5.5, 2.5, 1.8 pounds, and the racing, which you think it's the best, but instead, it's at 2.8 pounds. And the header size, this doesn't exist whatsoever. The exhaust diameter is set to 12.7mm or a half an inch. And this should get the power rating up at here at 2.7 horsepower at 4,300 RPM and a torque rating of 4.2 pounds-feet of torque at 2,300 RPM. So it's terrible all around, as you can see up at here. Mediocre amount of horsepower, pretty much like a big-ass garage rig, an industrial garage door type of horsepower rating. That's only suitable for those applications, but not for an automobile. So let's give you a listen of what this inline 3 garage door motor sounds like right here. So the power graph registers at 1400 RPM, but it appears it idled at 1300 RPM or a little bit lower. That's kind of interesting. So with the drive type, it's obvious because this is the lightest one, a rear drive setup with a manual 2-speed with the top speed set all the way down to 51.5 miles an hour because it won't reach it no matter what up in here, folks. Now for the tires, let's crapmobileify this. Let's start off with crossply because this will really do that. I'll say a cross-ply should reduce the tire width significantly with this little glitch that we got going here if this does work. So lower the tire diameter, I think it's down to 400mm up in here. Yep, it goes down to 400. Rim size, same thing, lowest at 10-inch rims. Oh no, it doesn't lower beyond 85mm for the front and rear tire width. So 85's front and rear tire width. Keep it a cross-ply setting because I haven't used cross-ply in like a very long time up in here. Put some carbon fiber rims, max out the quality, and for the brakes up in here, let's do carbon ceramic single piston, 160mm brakes, no brake force whatsoever because these brakes would be too strong for this car. Same thing, no brake force for the rear. So next for the under tray, let's use the none for the under tray because any of these, as we can see, increases weight to the vehicle. We don't want that whatsoever. For the interior of this car, this wannabe 40s coupe, based in the year 2020, let's choose the reduced size seats, the reduced 2 seats, because a single full-size seat increased a little bit on the weight by just having a single full-size seat compared to the 2 reduced size seats. So let's choose these with a basic interior and no type of infotainment whatsoever, and then for the driver aids and safety ratings, all that stuff, the manual rack and pinion type of steering, ABS brakes is a luxury, so no whatsoever, and no safety standards whatsoever, put it a none. And this is probably just for automation numbers, I don't think for BeamNG, so -15 on the quality, and this is definitely for automation numbers, not for BeamNG. Optimize the weight to the lightest factor as possible at 100, which leans it to the lightest setting. And lastly, for the suspension, standard springs, twin tube dampers, past sway bars, the most basic stuff, and let's remove the sway bars and see what we're at after putting this to a +15. So right now, without doing any body morphs whatsoever, we're at 325.9 pounds. And also speaking about the lightest car, I do have a much lighter car, as you can see here with a modded car body. Is that this car here a modded car body, which you can see at the Automation Steam store, which is called like Real Cars But For Kids, the 4.27 version of this car body. It's a 1.2 meter wheelbase body that's just kind of bizarre up in here with these tiny rubber band, my Grady Dick kind of wheels up in here, which is a real life NBA player that just got drafted in the NBA. So we got these super thin tires up in here, and a weird body, which this does make up in here, of 121.8 pounds, which is the lightest car you could make in automation, but in BeamNG, as I show you here, it doesn't want to cooperate to really prove that it is the lightest car. So yeah, as soon as I spawn in, just a nuclear explosion and instability detected kicks in. So driving the lightest car of all time isn't going to happen, folks. So back to the lightest vanilla car body, I might as well just adjust the body morph because I do know if you smoosh the truck in, should this increase or, yeah, okay, there we go. It does decrease the weight by, wow, almost 3 pounds by doing so. I'll try to best the rest of body morphing, see if I can get this even more lighter. So I managed to get myself to 322.4 pounds with this car up in here after smooshing down the roof, and that seems like this only changed, like, the weight up in here. So seeing I don't have to really adjust anything else to make this car even more lighter up in here, I might as well just design the car as is without trying to look like the Crapmobile V3 up in here by doing a little quick time-lapse design, and maybe, I highly doubt it, put an interior up in here because there's really nothing inside this car whatsoever with the negative quality and all that stuff. I think I'll probably do an interior, but it'll be super duper basic. But anyways, let's start doing a time-lapse design of me building this cheap-ass and light-ass car right here. So for the design of this car, this build took me roughly an hour to complete as I struggled with the front and sides of this car. For the front, without trying to clone my Crapmobile version 3 build with the headlights, turn indicators, and grille, I first put the headlights fairly high, conforming to the top near where the fenders meet. I also tried to come up with a front chrome bumper with a European-style license plate right between it. I ended up ditching this idea and made the bumper and these 2 chrome guards smaller, along with switching up the license plate, which you'll see later, to a more square one like you see in the United States or something like that. For the sides, initially I wanted to add some thin chrome trim pieces on the sides, but it wouldn't work out with the body morphing and how the trim pieces were aligned to the body in general. I scrapped that idea and got back to design the sides later on with this build. For the back, there's not that much, like most 1940s cars were back in the day. I added these brake lights, a rear chrome bumper with guards, and a trunk handle with an integrated lock, along with an interesting license plate mount that's embedded inside the trunk assembly, and it has this plastic piece that holds it in place. I then added some chrome hinges on top of the trunk assembly and finalized on trying to put a fuel cap on the left side of the car, as you see me struggle with that for some time. Also, I couldn't come up with an interior due to how small the cabin size is and the fixtures provided, so there's no interior on this car whatsoever, unfortunately. Going back to the sides, I decided to add a large chrome strip at the bottom of the car to make up for the lack of a side profile in an attempt to add those trim pieces in the past. After that's all done, I added a light blue paint job to the car. So, after getting everything done with this build, here's what it came out. This is the quote-unquote 1946 Criminy Mini Coupe. This ultralight car is the answer to reducing fuel consumption and wear and tear on the roads. It lacks basic features and uses the lightest materials just to make a car like this. Alrighty, so finally I got this miniaturized coupe up in here, the Criminy Mini Coupe at 322 horsepower, or pounds in automation. So before exporting this thing to BeamNG.drive, despite a handful of problems that we got going here, a pretty big amount which I'll list them right here, such as the strong oversteering, the engine being quite underpowered for the car's weight, the rolling will be too high, some quality issues, the front dampers being too hard, the car's oil capacity is too low, the front and rear brake force is too high, the underutilized octane, the car bottoming out, the long overdrive to do long gearing, and the front tires being quite wide. Let's jump on over to BeamNG.drive to see how this light car can drive. So apparently spawning in, we got a big problem here, folks. So according to BeamNG, it's 175.6-ish kilograms, which this equals in pounds, and we convert here. That's about 387.1 pounds. Do I really need to, like, make the car heavier in automation and re-export it to BeamNG? Like, what's the issue? So we got the tires doing tire things, and wait for it. There goes the fenders, but what's with the engine? Is it hitting the engine somehow? Oh, the engine's in the back, right here. So, oh my god, it seems like the engine is the culprit as... Is this like the drive shaft? Hold on, what explodes right here? Is it the drive shaft? Oh, the half shaft. The half shaft disconnects. It just shoots straight towards the trunk. Weird. It's probably because this engine in this car is way too light for BeamNG. Let me go back to automation and just make this heavier. Okay, so after doing an engine swap out here, so it appears that the engine is the culprit and it's starved of oil. Let's put this back onto Earth gravity so we don't have a situation. So we got the body jiggling all over the place. New achievement, play at least 10 minutes a session. So we're at Gold Coast, just to let you know about this map. So I swapped the engine, now we're okay. The license plate, what the hell happened to this? It was okay, but not anymore. So I don't know how well you could see automation here, so I did swap this out to another 123 or 134 cc engine, but this one makes 28.5 horsepower and it is turbocharged. So it appears that the super light engine is probably the one that is breaking the car and all that stuff because it is too light, not the car itself. So what if I clone the super light engine, both the engine itself and the variant, and make this out of cast iron for both, just to make the engine heavier only? Alright, so back at BeamNG, hit Control R, and hopefully, if this all loads in, and unfreeze, engine locked up. Well, we have to just... Okay, it works, but we have to lay the gas pedal as soon as I reset it. What if I don't? It destroys itself. So this is the engine where I think you just don't let go of the gas pedal, just don't let off the gas whatsoever. What if I just do this in neutral? Nope. Accelerate while it's in neutral if I respawn it. I guess this is the way to go, I assume. So how about rev bombing this bad boy at 4,500? Ooh, this boy's quick off the line, but it's a 2-speed. Don't expect much up in here, and since automation's open, this thing's probably laggy or freezing right now. I'm sorry about that if you see it right now. So what happens if I upshift this into second gear? Oh my god, front flip! Kids, the lightest engine is a game breaker. I don't know if you've seen it with how this thing is all laggy, but let's see if this thing could do a time trial run right now. Alright, so here I am, currently rev bombing this bad boy. We're still at Gold Coast, and currently we're doing the Leisure Road Circuit variant of this here time trial, this mod time trial. So let's click on the start button. 3, 2, 1, go. We're doing only 1 lap. God damn, only for a rev bomb? Alright, please don't do this again. Go to realistic before we get, whatchamacallit, jump scared. So this car is pretty much just a ticking time bomb to the point where it's gonna explode because of how light this engine is and how much of a game breaker this thing is. Probably when I revise— oh, here's the license plate. Now it's all back to normal. What? I didn't do nothing. The license plate is back, including the criminy name badge right here too. How about the front? Front's okay, but we're still jiggling like crazy with the front fenders and the front bumper too. So I hope to God that this car— we gotta hit the brakes. Hit the brakes while holding down the gas at the same time. We don't want to redline this or blow up all by itself. Just don't do it. We can go quick, but don't get this up to 5,500 RPM. So right here is good, 5,000. That's good, but I don't know about the rest of this course. We got a little uphill. And near redline, 5,200 RPM, 51-ish. 53 right there. We're getting real close. Just get real close to the red line, but don't do it again. We don't want this car to do any flipsies or engine blown up or no apparent reason. So we're averaging about 20 miles an hour, which is pretty much the quote-unquote top speed of this vehicle before we explode or not. Ooh, that was really close or nothing stupid. Yeah, this is the finish line. So in 1 lap, we're gonna get a time of a 240. So stand by right here. 2 minutes, 44 seconds, 160 milliseconds is our time. Not that bad. We didn't explode, unlike the last couple attempts. So free roam, watch us explode. Wait for it. Oh, we're going uphill, so definitely wait for it. Alright, POV. Your car is about to explode. Only in Baghdad, Iraq, kids. So, like you've probably noticed with this engine and with this car in general, how the engine explodes once you either redline it or upshift. This is what happens right here, folks. We got the car upside down, the engine destroyed, and this thing smoking too, probably from the radiator or starboard. It's probably the radiator or something like that. And a half shaft? What is this, a half shaft? Or something like that, the half shaft or whatever this thing is going whoop-de-doo-de-doo-de-doo-de-doo in the freaking shrubs of this map. Folks, pretty interesting. So for the final part of the video, let's drop this bad boy off and brutalize this ultra lightweight car by going to good old Brutal Slope 2.0, drop this down a ramp, and smash it to the wall at a very high speed. So let's get you to the top of the ramp right now. Alright, so here we are at the top of Brutal Slope. We have no time to lose, so first gear we go. Tires are locking up, and it's probably gonna flip. Ooh, it flips. So please land our 4 wheels so we could just manually and casually, yep, just go down the ramp as so. As the transmission? No, the engine is grinding on the bottom of the ground here. So we're favored to the left. We're no longer a Democrat. We're now a centrist. And we're okay. So at a speed at the bottom of the ramp, 150-ish miles an hour upon our exit speed at the exit portion of the ramp, 80 miles an hour once we exited to the top of the ramp. Engine started of oil, so are we going to be on the grass or the grass? Just shy of the little grid right here before the end of this quote-unquote map. So let's do 50 times slow-mo of this little bass drop going here with this ultralight car. So bass drop to the ground. Boom, all carbon fiber and all that stuff. Still the same carbon fiber for all the materials, but a different engine, a heavier engine. And we got a pulsing camera, so full time. Here's the roof impact, still upside down. And yes, we're still upside down. And the thing is, since it's very lightweight, 30% strength. Ooh, nice, little freaking, what the hell? Please, could you please hold all questions to the end of this meeting, please? So as the car just turns all by itself, we got significant damage to the rear end, the side end, the front end, and of course the engine as we flipped over at the top of the ramp and tumbled and all that good stuff. Alright, so it's F7 this bad boy while I hold down the accelerator. That didn't work. Here we go, so just resetting it, and first gear. There we go. So let's drive down, skateboard to top of the ramp right here, the hill, so we can crash ourselves. Stand by, wait for it before I explain. Please flip. Oh, almost front flip just perfectly. So hopefully, if this car maybe not. I wanted to go at a very high speed by crashing it at a square block, as I personally call it the wedge thing, which gives you a interesting wedge-shaped look of your vehicle, crashing it at a very high speed, but it appears we're not going to be going, like, headlong down the square block just at the bottom of the hill here. I think probably what I should do, let's see where this will end me, probably just let the engine just die off, and then just, like, soapbox and just roll it down the hill and hit the square block right there, so we missed it. Alright, I let the engine die, so here we are, just casually roll it down at over 120 miles an hour right now, over 120 as the airspeed is kind of glitching out up in here, which is kind of interesting. Probably because how just maybe the car is light, or the engine is too light to the point where it wants to brake, or whatever. So here we go at the wedge block, you're ready to stop now. 151 according to airspeed, but I don't know how accurate this is. So 100 times slow-mo as this thing jitters like crazy. Let's try to hide the wall and get this kind of impact. Here we go. Perfect. Hidden behind the wall. And we'll go all the way. Just about all the way, smashing it at the square block just in front of me. And here's the car as is. Let's drop this off to flat land and inspect it further. So here we are at the bottom as it's still rolling, so we made this car even smaller than a POP50, the BMW Isetta, as it still wants to spin around like it's on a little pedestal or something. Or one of those like automotive turntables you see at like major car shows or something. So looking at the front, we definitely, maybe at the side, we definitely got like a wedge-shaped look, like a triangular wedge-shaped look of the vehicle, as the front end is completely destroyed up in here with the headlights that still work because, well, it's an automation of BeamNG vehicle. These don't break whatsoever compared to a BeamNG vehicle. And elsewhere, the rear end, side ends, and all that stuff is all crinkled up, and of course the brake lights still work, and yeah, this car is just a heaping mess. This belongs in a scrapyard, not in a video game because of how broken it is. So after building this lightweight vehicle that's completely broken in BeamNG, well, it's pretty much drivable to a certain extent. All you gotta do if you were to make one yourself or download this car on my Discord server, you have to give it gas the moment you spawn in. Also, don't try to upshift, let go of the gas or redline because the engine literally explodes the moment you do so. Just keep that in mind. So anyways, that'll do it with automation and BeamNG.drive. And for those who are interested in this type of content, please be sure to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on any videos like this in the future. So this is TRIZE rising up and signing out.